Today I'm going to show you how to make not one gorgeous top, but two gorgeous tops. So I just want to make a disclaimer before we start. This top, which I'm not going to expose it right now, I'll give you a try on haul at the end, was made by an inspiration of TikTok. I will link the TikTok and the girl's username but I'm going to start by showing you how to make this top, because I don't know if you can see, this top has no border and it's like a thin little chain strap, only because I ran out of yarn. So I didn't have enough yarn to do all the pretty details like I did on this top. So basically, these tops are composed of the boob part, like the cups, and then you'll make a chain. In this case, the chain goes around the back, and in this case, the chain goes up until under your shoulder blade or however you want it. And then the mesh stitch, and then you make your straps and you do the border and then you put on the shells. So it's pretty simple, but I'm gonna give you a full detailed tutorial. So to start, you'll need some cotton, a 2.5mm crochet hook, and some scissors. So what we're gonna do to start is make a slip stitch. And then we're gonna chain 15. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to go into that 15th stitch with a double crochet, and then you're going to make a double crochet in every single gap until that end stitch. And we're going to go into that last stitch and we're going to increase, so we're going to do 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you crochet in down the other side of the chain, making a double crochet in every stitch. And we're going to crochet down to that end. So now we're just going to chain 2, flip your work around, and then we are going to double crochet in every single stitch until you reach the increase that we did in the previous row. Okay, so now we are reaching that increase that we did in the previous row. So you can see the 5 stitches that are in the top stitch, and we'll be increasing into the 3rd stitch of that 5. So this is 1, it's 2, that's 3, and then this is the 3rd stitch, so that means we are doing 5 double crochets into that stitch, so we are increasing. So that's our 3rd stitch, 4, 5, and then now we are just gonna double crochet in every single stitch down to the other end
of our cup. Now we are just approaching that end stitch, and then what you're going to do is you're going to chain 2 and then flip your work around and then make a double crochet in every single stitch, and then when you reach that increase that we did in the previous round, you are going to go into the 3rd stitch with an increase. So now we are approaching, that's the 1st stitch that we did, that's the 2nd stitch, and then this next stitch is the 3rd stitch where we are going to be making 5 double crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you just continue making double crochets in every single stitch until you get to the end of the row where you will chain 2 and then flip your work around. So you can see just working double crochets, so it's pretty simple. So you are going to continue with this pattern until you've reached enough rows to fit you. I did 9 rows. You may have to adjust accordingly. You may do more or less rows.
Okay, so once you have got your 2 cups and you've made them your desired size, you can add more rows or less rows. What we're going to do is we're now going to make a chain that is long enough to fit around our back, and then these kind of meet in the front, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're going to make a chain, and then you're just going to catch the slip knot through the stitch there, and then you're just going to make a chain that's long enough to fit around your back and meet, so these 2 meet in the front. 1, 2, 3.
So I've made a chain of 90 to fit around my back,
and then you can see here it is, and then what you're going to do is I'm going to join to that slip stitch, well, join to the opposite cup with a slip stitch, so through and then catch through, and then you're just going to cut your yarn off and then fasten it. So this chain needs to be long enough to fit around your bust, like so. So these almost join, like that. You don't want it too loose or too tight. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start at one edge of the cup, and we are going to do a double crochet in every stitch. So I'm just going to start by training away this little piece of yarn that we have. So I'm using that as a chain 2, and then I'm going to start a double crochet and then catch the yarn, and then I'm going to get my new strand of yarn and pull it through like so. Then I just hold my work to the left, and then you crochet over the pieces of yarn. So for these stitches you're just improvising, like there is no stitch. You just go for, you place a double crochet where you feel is right. You don't want to do too many, but yeah, I'm just going for it, as you can see. And then obviously you're gonna do this in like across the cup and then across the chain. So in every single chain you'll make a stitch, so that will be however many chains that you did, and then across to this cup, and I'll meet you once. Okay, so you can see we've done our double crochets on both cups and the chain. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this cup here and we're gonna chain 6. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're gonna flip our work around and we're gonna skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna slip stitch into that 4th stitch. Then we're gonna chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're gonna skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that 4th stitch you slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Skip 4 stitches. Well, 3 stitches, and go into that 4th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, go into the 4th stitch with the slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then slip stitch. So you're going to do this on the whole row, and I'll meet you once we've completed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You flip your work around and then you just slip stitch into the gap like so, and then you slip stitch. Then we chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you slip stitch. So that's how you get the mermaidy shell stitch. Well, not shell stitch, the mermaid mesh stitch. So like, how gorgeous, like it's so simple. And then you chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you slip stitch. So you're gonna have to do enough rows to get your desired length. So I'll probably do in between 25 and 30 rows because I've got quite a long torso, but I want mine also quite long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you slip stitch, and then you just repeat this until you get to the other side, and then you will chain 6 when you do your slip stitch there, and then flip your work around and then just go into the gap, and it makes it go straight. So it's pretty simple. Okay, so I've done 33 rows of this mesh stitch. So what we're gonna do now is, you can see this is the right way around because your double crochet is like the right way. That's the wrong way. Like there's a distinct difference. Well, I can see the difference, but if you can't see the difference, no problem. So what we're gonna do is fold this inwards, and we are going to join the middle of the top together by single crocheting into these stitches here. So we're gonna join through there. So what we're gonna do is, you're gonna take your yarn, make a slip stitch, and then I think I'm just gonna start from here because I want quite a big, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I want the opening to be a bit more like closer, so not so like wide. So 1, and I'm just gonna make single crochet, and you just line that up, and you can see we're gonna crochet over the row of double crochets. And then I'm gonna do like a couple stitches. So here you can see this is where the row starts for our cup. I'm gonna crochet maybe 2 or 3 stitches up so it's not down. I don't know, like you can see here, so they join. If I left them apart, they would be like more V, like lower down. I hope that makes sense. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut off the yarn and then fasten it off, and then we can weave it away. We can just cut that off. And then now what we do is we're gonna flip our work inside out. Like so now this is the correct way. And what we are gonna do is we're gonna make the straps now. So we're gonna make a row. So we're gonna place, you can see the increase on the top row. We're gonna 1, 2, 3. In that third stitch, because it's the middle stitch, so there's 2 stitches either side from that increase. So here's the increase. 1, 2, that's the third stitch, 1, 2. And then you're gonna make a slip stitch, and then you're gonna make a chain that is long enough to tie around your neck. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 49, 50. So I've made a chain of 100, as you can see, and then you're gonna cut off the yarn and just pull it through, and then you're gonna repeat the same for this side. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start with the border, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna place, so I made a slip stitch, and I'm gonna catch a slip stitch through that first stitch of the cup there, and then I'm just gonna pull it through, and then I'm gonna chain 1, and then I'm gonna make 3 half double crochets into that first stitch. 1, 2, 3, and then what we're gonna do is skip that stitch and go into the next stitch with a slip stitch, and then into the next stitch do 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then skip that stitch, go into that stitch with a slip stitch, and then go into the next stitch with 3 half double crochets. So basically that is the pattern. 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch and then slip stitch, and then it creates like a small little scallopy like shell pattern. I don't want it too frilly, like this is a subtle frill. So that's how I'm doing the borders, and I'm gonna do this all the way up the chain and then back down the chain and then down, then up, and then up the chain and then back down the chain and down this side of the cup and then around and then up until we are back where we started. So I'll meet you once we've done that. Okay, so as you can see, like we've done all this up one side of the strap. Just do it as you did doing this, even though it's a chain and it may look different, but you just basically do your 3 half double crochets, then skip a stitch, then slip stitch, and then go into the next stitch and start the next one. But what I just wanted to show you is down the other side of the chain, I want to try mismatch it. So I've started with the one here, then I skipped a stitch and then a slip stitch, and then now where the slip stitch was in the previous, well, where we did the previous one, I'm going to start with my increase there. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna slip stitch into that gap there, and then where we did the slip stitch that separates the two little shell things, or yeah, shells, or yeah, you do your increase. So it's not like, I don't know how to explain it, because if they were right next to each other, they'd be kind of like jutting out like bubbles, and I don't want that. So if you do it like where the slip stitch was, it avoids that from happening. So slip stitch where you did your increase or your shell, and then where you did the slip stitch from the previous side, you do your shell. 1, 2, 3. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we have crocheted all the way around, and I've reached the beginning, or well, where we started, and I'm just gonna cut off the yarn and then fasten off my work, and then I'm just gonna weave away the yarn. Wherever I can. Or you could take one of these needles and sew it through. That may be a quicker option. But now, I'm just gonna cut that off. Okay, now I'm gonna get my shells. Okay, so you can see here's the middle of the top, and I'm gonna create like a little flower sort of thing. 1, 2. So you'll need like 5 shells. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, and then 5. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna thread my yarn onto this needle, and then like sew the shells into the top, and I'll just show you what I'm going to do. I'll put it in fast motion, or yeah, in a time-lapse kind of thing. Okay, so then you thread it through. Okay, so that is our center point. Then I'm just gonna make a little knot to fasten it off. And then I'm gonna put this around. Then I'm gonna go through the stitch there and just to get that down. Okay, so we've got the shell on, and then now we're just gonna get rid of the yarn. So I'm gonna get the yarn back on the needle, and then just weave it through the stitches. So I've got it to the other side, and then I'm just gonna weave it through the double crochets. Then we can cut it off. And then also, if you want, you can make like a tie thing. You can make this tie, like you don't have to join it how I joined it. You can only join it there, and then you can let it tie and still have this thing there, and then make a chain and have 2 cowrie shells off the chain, which I think would be so cute. But yeah, this is me finished with the top. This is how I want it. But there are definitely other alternatives if you don't want to join it. Like this doesn't have to be fixed how I did it. You can leave it apart and then tie it like manually, and then, like I said, make a chain with these two cowrie shells, which I think will be such a beautiful detail. So now I'm just going to talk you through the steps that I did to make this mermaid top. So to start with, we made the cups. I did 11 rows for each cup. Yours may vary according to how much coverage you want and the size of your breast. Secondly, then we made a chain from either side of your cup, of both cups. So I did a chain of 36 from each side. Then again, this would also vary according to how much coverage you want over the back or how broad your back is, however many stitches you need. And then what we did after that was I joined the cups together with a slip stitch. So that means you have your like foundation row. So like we did with the purple top, we made a double crochet in every single stitch across until the other side. And then once you did that, we chained 6 and we started with our mermaid stitch. If you need to go back and check how I did it, you can go back to how we did it with the purple one, but it's basically you chain 6 and skip 4 stitches and slip stitch. And then you do however many rows you need, and then we did a chain for the back. As for the chain for the cups, we went into the middle stitch of that chain that we did. But if you want a pretty border, you can always go back to see how we did the purple top. And now I'm just going to show you how we sewed in the shells and the beads. I'll show you. You basically go under the stitches like that. I'm not going under through so many, like maybe 2, just because it's the 2 top stitches. And you grab your shell and you go over it, and then you get to that side and you go over, and then you weave it in and you get a little bead, and then you just go. And then in the middle we're gonna do 5 to make like a beautiful little flower out of cowrie shells. And then you do up and down, and then we're done. So here is top 1. So gorgeous. You can see the back. Top 2. And what's so cool about top 2 is with the like drawstring, you can make it how tight or loose you want it, which is fabulous.